Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive in. Today we're switching gears a bit. We're going to be taking a deep dive into a devotional text all about running the race of faith.
Ooh, I like that. Running the race.
Yes, from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1.
Okay, Hebrews. Got it.
And it really got me thinking about perseverance,
Yeah. Right.
faith, and especially how do we stay focused on the path that, well, seems to be set for us. And there's this super thought-provoking part in the text about setting spiritual goals, which feels very fitting as we're starting fresh in a new year.
I love that. New year, new goals, but spiritual ones this time.
Exactly. So before we get into all that, let's hear what the verse actually says. It's Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us.
Wow. Powerful imagery, right? That cloud of witnesses.
Right. It kind of paints this really vivid picture in my head.
Totally. It's like, okay, we're not just running aimlessly,
Yeah.
right? It's not a sprint. It's a race with purpose. And we've got this whole cloud of witnesses surrounding us.
Like everyone who came before us in faith, those who have already run their own races, they're all there, like cheering us on, reminding us that we're not in this alone.
Exactly. I imagine a stadium full of fans,
Yeah.
all those who ran the race before us cheering us on.
That's a great way to put it. But then the verse gets real, right? It says we got to throw off everything that hinders.
Oh, yeah, that part.
At first, it sounds kind of simple, right? But when you really stop and think about it, what are those things in our lives that are actually holding us back spiritually? I mean, that's a big question.
It is. I mean, think about it. Sometimes we're so used to carrying certain burdens that we don't even realize they're slowing us down, like bad habits, negative thoughts that keep swirling around in our heads, even some relationships that just drain our energy and our spirit. It's like trying to run with weights strapped to your ankles.
Ooh, I like that analogy. Weights on your ankles.
Yeah, this verse is urging us to figure out what those weights are and just let them go.
Lighten the load.
Exactly.
And it's not just things that hinder, right? It specifically calls out sin that so easily entangles. I don't know about you, but that wording always kind of jumps out at me
It's powerful, isn't it?
because it makes sin sound less like, a one-time trip up and more like something that can actually trap us.
It's like it's got this grip on us, holding us back from moving forward in our faith.
Right. And the way it says easily entangles, that just emphasizes how sneaky sin can be.
Totally. Sin can be like a thorny vine, right? It wraps itself around us so slowly and quietly. We barely even realize it's happening until we're like totally bound.
Yes. And I think the first step to breaking free is actually recognizing where those entanglements are. Where have we let sin take root in our lives without even realizing it?
That's such a good point.
So there's this next part in the verse that always kind of gets me thinking. He says, the race is marked out for us. And I don't know, it can almost sound a bit, well, deterministic, like we don't actually have a say in where we're going.
I know what you mean, but I don't think that's quite what it's getting at.
Right. So is it more about recognizing that there's a bigger purpose at play?
I think so. It's this beautiful paradox, right? We absolutely have free will, the ability to choose our path, but we also have to remember that our lives are part of something so much bigger, a divine plan. So for me, it's about finding that balance, recognizing the path that's laid out for us, yeah, but then also making choices each and every day that, keep us on track, keep us aligned with that purpose.
That's a great way to look at it. I like that a lot, finding the balance. Okay, and speaking of finding our way, this devotional text asks a really thought-provoking question. It said, how have you begun the race this year?
Ooh, I like that. Get you thinking, right?
It does. It's not just about where we are in our faith right now, but what direction are we actually moving in? Are we closer to the finish line than we were a year ago? Are we even moving at all?
So true. And what steps are we taking to really deepen our relationship with God or to live out our faith in a way that actually impacts the world around us? Tough questions.
Right. But good ones to ponder. And you know what I loved? The text encouraged us to actually set specific spiritual goals for the year.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. But it's not enough to just have the thought right.
Right.
We have to actually pray for perseverance, for that strength to keep going, even when things get tough.
I mean, think about it. It's like anything else, right? If you're training for a marathon, setting goals gives you that roadmap, that plan. But actually getting out there and running, that's the hard part.
It is, and that's where prayer comes in. It's the fuel for the journey, right? It's how we tap into that unwavering strength and wisdom that only comes from God.
And that reminds me, the devotional text actually had a beautiful prayer to help with this. Lord, thank you for giving me strength to run the race of faith. Help me persevere and keep my eyes fixed on you. Amen.
Oh, I love that prayer. It's so simple, but it really hits home.
It does, because it reminds us, we might be the ones running, but we don't have to run alone.
Exactly. So we've talked about a lot today. Perseverance, staying focused on the path that's marked out for us, letting go of those things that hold us back, and of course the power of prayer. But there's this question that's kind of sticking with me, and I bet it's on our listeners' minds too. If life is the race, what does it actually mean to win?
Ah, now that is the ultimate question, isn't it?
It is.
And honestly, I think the answer is different for everyone. Is it about reaching some level of, I don't know, spiritual perfection? Or is it about using our unique talents and gifts to help other people? Or maybe winning just means staying in the race, faithfully riding the path that's meant for us no matter what obstacles we face. It's a journey of self-discovery, I guess, figuring out what winning looks like for each of us.
I think you're right. It's a personal journey for sure.
It is. It really is.
Well, folks, that's our deep dive for today. Hope it gave you some food for thought as you run your own race.
Happy running.
And we'll see you next time.
See you then.